Let me ask you this, and we'll see where we end up at the end of the series. Do you think both? This is a three multiple choice option. You don't have to explain it. Just pick one.
Yeah.
Do you think we end with both Bradock and Jerusa still alive and kicking, or Jerusa's taken out, or Bradock's taken out? Because it's such a volatile situation. But at this point, which of those three options do you think we will end on? For a moment at the beginning of this episode, we were given a moment of reprieve. Almost to the point that I was like, okay, now y'all slowing it down too much. I thought I should have known better. I should have known better, because they was like, no, we letting you recover from last week when we turned up. So now relax a little bit, because here it comes. I'm yet waiting for them to do some wrong, and they haven't yet. What is this show? Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm finding it really hard to not enjoy this show. And the reason I'm saying that, I'm being silly, but it's because we are critiquing things that we watch, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like somebody might be like, wait a minute, y'all not saying anything bad about the show yet. So
Yeah,
are you?
Yeah, they might. Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, no, it's that good, y'all. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
No, it's real. And if there were something that could be critiqued about the show, I'm probably gonna miss it, because there's so many different things that I'm looking at that I'm like, oh, that little small thing, never mind that, because the storyline is great. Looking at the show visually, it's great to watch. And then these characters, these actors, they're killing it. This show is dope.
This is the one show lately that I'm watching that I have to tell people about. That I say, if you're not watching this, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here? You know? And then it's like the characters, they all mean something, right? Like, if I was to have a straight up conversation with you, we could just mention character names and talk like we do on these recaps. We could just talk character names as if we're talking about like real people in real situations that happen.
Yeah.
As well as we can turn and talk about the actors and performers in that regard. And maybe it has to do with the fact that we have not been oversaturated with these actors and these performers and these talents, that we can actually separate them. Whereas if it's somebody that's really famous to you or to I, sometimes you ever go and see a movie and it's like, a big star in it, and it's like you feel like you're watching the big star do the thing. You don't get lost in the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's those moments, but it's almost impossible to do here. But I think that's probably a bit of why, because everybody's still fresh to us, and I like that. I'm enjoying it. Yeah. How do we start out from the fallout of Curio? We pretty much get into what should have been his funeral, but what was your thoughts on the one downtime, the decompression time at the beginning of episode 4?
Yeah, it's funny you call it that, because that was initially my thought. I was like, okay, they're easing us in. I was like, this episode 4, is going to be a little bit of a filler episode. This is going to be, everybody dealing with the fallout and the death of Curio, and then Bradock taking his rightful place,
right,
as the leader of the favela. So I was like, all right, this episode's gonna be a little slow. We're gonna lead into it, and it did start off as such. We start off with the city of God, people paying their respects to Curio, the morning of the death of Curio. And I find it interesting that Wilson, and it's unfortunate because now the people in the city of God know that it's going to be chaos and mayhem because Curio is gone.
Yeah. And it's like, the what is it, the lesser of two evils kind of thing, where it's like, okay, we know there's some corruption going on. but we can still live our day-to-day lives as long as this person is doing their thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they did acknowledge that. We'll get into the first intense scene because, like I said, I felt like I thought that this was gonna be, like you said, sort of a filler episode. Boy, was I wrong. So the first scene, we see the family mourning, but we also see Bradock's crew, his gang, blocking mourners from even because
They did.
I said, "Oh yes, yeah. That's how it. Okay. Yes. That's what I was waiting on. I don't think anybody is mourning like Miss Shirley Cruz. Like she. So
That's the thing.
I love the fact that what that scene established was it showed you Bradock is really a loose cannon. Something is wrong with his head. That he is in deep mourning, but he killed a man. It showed that, right?
Yeah.
And then it shows also just how corrupt things are in the city of God, that a person's murderer will freely walk into their funeral to pay their respects, you know?
And everybody knows it.
And it's like we can't even do anything because of how crazy things are, right? And then I also like the fact that there was while Bradock was showing his respects, he basically drew a line in the sand to say, hey, I see you as, my aunt, or, I see you as family. You're good regardless. I like these criminals have morality to some degree.
They do. They do. And I think that the show does a really good job of showing us that with Bradock. Like, I think they do a good job of, like, they show him as the villain, right?
Yeah.
He's the bad guy. But they also remind us, like, he has heart.
Yeah.
He has feelings. And they show these different things that he does to say, like, yes, he has a heart. He's a good guy deep down, even though he's doing horrible things.
But he's crazy.
He's crazy. And I think it's also very intentional that they continue to show him doing drugs, because it goes to
adds
show, like,
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it adds to it. And it's like amplifying all these things. And we know, he's doing that to, like, pacify the emotion that he's got going on, this inner turmoil about his beef with Curio. So it's really dope how they continue to play up this character. Cause, like, you're supposed to hate him. He's a bad guy, but I do not hate Bradock.
Yeah.
I don't.
He's just a really interesting and strong, well-written and thought-out character. And what I liked about their dialogue at the beginning was that Martina was able to she was the first person in the series so far to hit Bradock on an emotional point, with what she said. Basically, like, we are a family. You murdered him. Yeah. So, and so I just like what that dialogue was. And I also like that she didn't cower to him.
Not once.
And yeah, we ended with the whale, which was the perfect on the end. So from there
we go to, is it when his daughter went to the beach and she found her brother, Jenny?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Emily Amaro, I was waiting for them to do more so as to herself. She's minding her own business. She knows who her father is, but she don't really get involved in the mess. She's protected in a lot of ways that young girls are. And I was waiting on them to give us a bit more of her, because I was like, there's no way that they're just showing her so much and she's not going to do something. And what this show does perfectly is it takes someone who you think is just going to be doing some minor supporting role, doing something, and they all kind of get a chance. It's like if you had a roster of 100 athletes, you basically are shuffling them around, giving everybody a chance to, some time to play in the whatever sport they're doing, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put that. That means everybody got to be ready at all times.
Yeah.
There are no weak actors in this cast.
No.
There's no weak link, because you got to be on ready, because at any point they're going to tap you on your shoulder and say, this your episode. Come on, let's go.
And so what I want to point out with her going to meet her brother is that they had a heart-to-heart. This was both the softest moment we saw Geninho. And then that didn't last because by the time students center or the community center or something like this, and the students are playing music and they're all there. And the importance they put on those three as a community collective, I was like, oh, okay. So these really are like the power players, because the truth of the matter is if you don't have the people on your side, you can't really run stuff, right? And Bradock knows this. And so he's trying to, win people over, but we know he's not going to win Bernice over. Okay. And, I just was like, okay, they really gave us like emphasis, like, okay, this is the reason why Cynthia, Stringy, and Bernice are so important to the community and why they are almost untouchable in a way, because they're so neutral. And there's also the addition of the fact that they did a good job of letting us know that Bradock is a product of the favelas, is a kid at heart of the city of God. And it makes sense because there was this surprise that I kind of should have picked up on with the reveal of Littlefoot. If you've seen City of God favelas, and Lil Z, who was running things at the time, decides to go up to the kids and make an example out of one of them, he shoots him in the foot. This kid, this kid is now an adult, and I don't know how I didn't even, that reveal.
Yeah, that was
Tierra.
dope.
I was like, what?
That was dope. And I instantly was reminded of when I think you said to me, either you said it, like, I can't remember if you knew for certain or you were just saying it. Something about, I wonder if they're going to bring back more people, more actors from the original. Like you said something along those lines. And I was like, oh, maybe. And of course, as we know how clever this show is, they found a way to do it, bringing back Littlefoot without it like being in your face. And like you said, if you didn't recognize him, you wouldn't know it, but they did a quick callback to it. It was like perfect. Perfect.
So that was a good reveal, a good swerve, and they just done it in a really good way. But to hit at home how connected both Bradock is as a kid of the favelas, so he tries his best to do right by and prioritize the kids, but he's on that stuff, so he's not really doing that. And then to pair that up with Littlefoot, who is also, just like Bradock, a traumatized kid who is a product of the favelas, right? And you see you see them on the same page because they you saw Bradock listening to him, or, yes, right? And Bradock, even though Bradock is, for the children in that way, he wouldn't have handled it in that way. And so I think a bit of him didn't like that aspect, but he respects it because they are the same kind of individual. Did you pick up on that too?
Oh, for sure. And I think, again, it's the writers showing us another layer, these continued layers of Bradock, and it's them trying to make him more more likable.
Yeah. It's just so good. So there's that reveal, but the reveal that got me, and when I say really got me, throwing my hands up, leaning on the couch, I was like, oh, like doing the audible most. Bernice goes to see Clayton Peekity in the hospital. And, they're Tierra, I don't know about you, but I wasn't ready. I said, what?
It's funny that you call that the reveal, because I was like, what reveal are you talking about? Okay, I'm with you now.
It was a literal reveal.
A literal reveal. I was like, what is he talking about?
But oh my gosh, that was like the left hook that I wasn't looking for. It took me, I said, yo, what is this show? What is this show? And we'll touch on some other stuff here, but at the end of this episode, we see Bernice make a choice. She knows that Jerusa almost looks at the camera.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
And she's also whispering in some guy's ear at the time. I said, "Oh no."
I told you, Wilson's nose is wide open. You know, he is feeling Lígia. So he is down to do whatever it takes. He ready to risk it all, and it's clear. I think that Wilson is forgetting that the people know him. He grew up in the city of God. He's known. Like, yes, he's always the person behind the camera, but they know who he is. He's also won awards and he's very recognized for his photography. So, like, you out here trying to pretend to snap photos of your boo thing, but like these people, they've seen you, they know you have a camera, like you are also on watch. So I think while he's watching them, I think they are watching him as well.
Yeah.
So coming up, we're gonna see Wilson get into some mess. I
Yeah.
think so.
I think so too, because in this episode we didn't get Turo, even though we know Turo, you know, he's on their scent. And then I do think Jerusa's seen him. I do think, yeah. And they know exactly who he is, and he doesn't have the protection of Curio anymore because Curio's not there. And so he's been able to kind of coast for a while, and I think it's gonna catch up to him. So that'll be interesting to to see how it plays out. Let's go back real quick to who's become again one of my faves to watch, Miss Lecca. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew she wasn't gonna be able to deal with that man's stuff for that long on people. And when she and her friends were having a conversation, because this is the first time we've seen them fall out, okay? So this is the first time we've seen them fall out. And what I liked about this was that it really had me cheering for Lecca even more than I thought I would be. Lecca episode 1 and Lecca now are two totally different, or not even different, just a level up of another character, because she's basically like, I have these things that I believe in, that I stand by, and I'm not wavering on any of those. We see that with how she feels about her father's work. We see that with how she takes up for herself when it comes to being exploited at a job. And then there is this area where it's like, okay, you're tough, you have some wisdom beyond your years, all this stuff. But now it's bleeding over into, you saying F off to your closest people, right? Lecca this episode, her and her friends, all the things.
Yeah, MC Lecca, she wears me out.
She does. She be on the go. She's got a lot of energy.
Lecca be having a lot going on. I'm like, girl, do you have a job? Do you have work? What are you doing? No, I like Lecca. I enjoy her. I appreciate how she's confident. She believes what she believes, and she's 10 toes down in how she feels. And when she says something, people listen. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Her father included. I love that. I love that she has a spine, she has a backbone, and she's 10 toes and whatever she says. So I love that about Lecca. I thought it was like interesting to see the little spat with her and her friends, but it's realistic. That's what happens, especially at that age. I don't know that they're gonna make up.
What?
I kind of feel like one of them is gonna leave the group. Somebody gonna say, "Nope, I'm out. I'm gonna go do X, Y, Z," and then I feel like they might be left hanging, and either they're gonna go on as a duo or they're gonna get a new member. I don't know.
Ooh,
Remember Justice Child? It happened to them.
They better not. They better not. And so, speaking of Lecca, we know that she has this thing with Delano. In fact, in their whole issues of going back and forth and taking up for themselves with the club owner and so on, it was Delano who put the battery in Lecca's back because he read through the contract that they had and advised her, yeah, no, this ain't good. And that's why she went and, beat up the guy or whatever. But anyways, we know, I told you some episodes ago, Delano has a temper on him, T. And that there's going to be something that comes up. When Bradock attempted to speak to Amanda directly after having, offed her father, and I don't know if you noticed, Delano, first of all, not a shaky bone in his body. He was not trembling in Bradock's presence or anything.
Ever.
But Bradock says, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to my sister. We see that there's about to be a shift because we are reminded, oh wait, Delano is an officer. And so this is a double-edged sword because he cares about the citizens and the people of the city of God. And so if something is disrupted, then it will throw things off. And a lot of individual citizens, innocent people, can get hurt in the mix. But then also there's this like, wait a minute, we can go and get Bradock up out of here. And not only that, he ran up on my mama's place. He's terrorizing the kids that I care about. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Do you think that Delano is going to, go after Bradock, or is he gonna be like, making the Force look silly because he's not gonna give all the intel? Like, what do you think that's gonna be?
Really, I don't know. I don't know. I never, up until this episode, I never thought about Delano and Bradock. My eye has been on Delano and MC Leica and what mess she's gonna get him in. So calling back to that scene where she punched the contract guy, my first thought was like, oh Lord, now he's gonna be coming for her, and now Delano's gonna have to get involved. So I think I still think we're gonna go that direction. I don't know how the Delano and
Bradock, I thought there was gonna be a change because he went after his mom, you see.
Yeah.
So that was the shift, I think. And then not only that, this is the same footage that's being given to the politicians to talk about on television. It's finally get the confirmation that Jerusa is indeed working with Reginaldo's camp. We got that confirmation. We also got the reveal that she is not only in the camp, but she is dating and, conspiring with Israel. And now we start to see a shift where she just suddenly realizes she created a monster in Bradock, because Bradock decides to host a party for the community so he can make himself look good in the wake of Curio's death. And he ends up, because this show don't have no favorites, right? He ends up killing off Zeroonze, who we just got really introduced to as a key character. Nope, he's out. He's out. Mm-hmm. And Jerusa, which also, I don't know why Jerusa was so surprised about that, because she was the one who was in the stairwell saying to Bradock, hey, what are we gonna do about him? Because he turned on Curio. So what you think he's gonna do to us? Mm-hmm. She made him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess she didn't expect him to do it in that moment, in that place, in the party. Mm-hmm. And so this was the first time we saw her, tense up a little bit or get worried a bit, because this is a loose cannon that you created. You literally created a monster now that you're losing control of. And I think that that's going to come to a head as well. But what did you think about that reveal, and what's your rating for this episode?
Yeah. This show, like you said, they play no favorites. So, I'm on my toes every time. I feel like anybody can get it. So
literally.
I'm coming to expect that with this show, but I appreciate that. I do. It makes it more interesting and more fun to watch, honestly. For me, the rating for the show, it stays the same. I'm still at a Queen Latifah. I'm having.
What is it gonna take for you to?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
What do you need to see?
Listen, I'm having a ball. I'm having a
good time. I don't know. There's not one thing that like it could be to take it higher. There's nothing bad. I'm enjoying it. It's just
what's
solid.
Where
you at this week?
I'm still up. I'm up and I'm stuck. It's still an Angela Bassett for me. Because one thing I like with series like this, with these crime dramas and so on, is how are we going to get from point A to point B is important. And we never get to a point where anything is too predictable or anything is too cheesy, too corny, done too fast, done too slow. Everything is like given the right amount of time each episode. And like I said, even with the supporting roles, there's moments where there's shows that I know of that are really exceptional that wouldn't give the time to that. They wouldn't develop a character in this way. And they've managed to do in 4 episodes, y'all. They've managed to give us so many layers in all these different characters that it's mind-blowing. Like the work that they are doing on this show is just too good. And I find myself having favorite scenes at times, having favorite performers at times, and so on. But I'm no longer able to like pinpoint and have a favorite storyline because I want to see what happens with all of them. And that's a marker of a really good, well-written and well directed performed series. So I'm waiting on all the award recognition, the Emmy nominations, all the things that they need to be getting needs to happen, because you are playing yourself and you're lying if you think that this show is less than anything that we've said it's been for these weeks. I'm sorry. They really I don't know what they could do to drop the ball at this point. Maybe if they did something lame like let me ask you this, and we'll see where we end up at the end of the series. Do you think this is a 3 multiple choice option. You don't have to explain it, just pick one.
Yeah.
Do you think we end with both Bradock and Jerusa still alive and kicking, or Jerusa's taken out or Bradock's taken out? Because it's such a volatile situation. But at this point, which of those 3 options do you think we will end on?
I think we're going to end on them both being alive, but they won't be in cahoots. They'll be at odds. That's what I think.
Okay, we're gonna see. Let us know what y'all think too. Okay, episode 5 is coming up soon. Woo! Poor Bernice. Peace out, y'all.